program is the Active Center.
We have a really fascinating one for you today.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to be here as your resident expert. We're unpacking a pretty wild essay.
Right, so picture this. Imagine you're at a frat party. The living room is literally on fire, the kitchen is completely flooded, and everyone around you is just, screaming at each other that the water is too dry and the fire is too cold.
Yeah, it sounds like a completely paralyzing environment where, logic has essentially just left the building.
Exactly. It's a wild image, but it perfectly captures the essay we're diving into. The author describes himself as a political orphan, like someone totally outside the traditional two-party system.
Which is great because it gives us a wonderfully neutral, nonpartisan lens to examine what he calls Trump derangement syndrome, or TDS.
And I want to explicitly state our golden rule for this deep dive right up front. We are not taking sides here at all. We're just objectively exploring the author's critique of extreme political polarization.
Right, so to get into the mechanics of TDS, we have to look at how supporters of the 45th and 47th president define it. It's not just strong political disagreement.
Oh, no, definitely not.
It's categorized as a state where intense hostility actually, short-circuits a critic's cognitive function.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the anger becomes so consuming they lose the ability to maintain any sense of proportion or really evaluate policies objectively.
Okay, let's unpack this because the groundwork for this hyper-reactive outrage was actually laid back in 2003.
Yeah, it definitely didn't start with Trump. We have to look back at Bush derangement syndrome, or BDS.
Right.
The conservative columnist Charles Krauthammer actually coined that term to describe this acute paranoia where people genuinely believed a guy who, spent his retirement painting puppies was a fascist mastermind.
Wow. So, if BDS was the beta version, then TDS is the algorithm-driven hypercharged software update.
That is a perfect way to put it. With BDS, the hostility was largely spread through traditional media and word of mouth. It was localized.
But I have to push back a little on the author's premise here. Is this actually true psychological derangement, or is it just the natural result of a modern 24/7 media cycle that literally needs constant outrage to survive?
Well, the author argues it's a vicious feedback loop. The media cycle provides the spark, absolutely. But our own polarized psychology is the dry tinder. People actively crave that dopamine hit.
Right, the feeling of being righteously outraged.
Exactly. The algorithms simply recognize that vulnerability, and they are more than happy to oblige by serving up constant existential threats.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because the author points out how this mechanism forces commentators to completely abandon context. We all remember the 2017 stories.
Right, yeah, definitely.
The late-night coffee typo being treated as a coded Russian message. Or, getting 2 scoops of ice cream viewed as authoritarianism.
And the Japanese koi pond incident.
Oh, I remember that one. Where they cropped reality to hide that Prime Minister Abe dumped his fish food first.
Right. The stories themselves are trivial, but the reaction reveals the algorithmic mechanism you're talking about. In a healthy information ecosystem, a typo is just a chuckle.
Yeah, a dairy preference is just a dairy preference.
Exactly. But because the ecosystem demands high stakes, a dairy preference is framed as a chilling window into authoritarianism. Nuance completely kills the high of a sensational narrative.
They altered reality with the koi pond because the algorithm rewards confirmation bias, not accuracy. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the author shows how that exact loss of proportion carried right into 2026.
Oh, absolutely. Look at the Davos summit. A recurring joke to Macron about buying Greenland was immediately processed by commentators as a dark return to 19th century imperialism.
We saw the same thing when the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, mocked up that novelty $250 bill for the nation's semi-quincentennial.
The 250-year anniversary, right?
Yes, exactly. It was meant as a quirky collector's item, yet it was somehow labeled a fascist financial coup.
Or what about the weeks of serious national security level fact-checking over RFK Jr.'s hyperbolic CPAC comment about Fruit Loops on the food pyramid?
Fact-checking Fruit Loops like it's a nuclear treaty.
Which brings us to the core danger the author highlights. When you feed every single event through this outrage machine, you trigger a massive boy who cried wolf effect.
So what does this all mean for you listening? Why does it actually matter if commentators overreact to Toucan Sam or a scoop of vanilla?
Because it actively destroys credibility. If a commemorative novelty bill is treated with the exact same apocalyptic dread as a major global trade war, the public simply tunes out.
Right. They just stopped listening entirely.
Yeah, it makes actual adult debate on serious policies, like the ballooning national debt under both parties, completely impossible. We lose the shared vocabulary needed to govern.
So the author's ultimate plea to both sides of the aisle is just bring back logic and emotional regulation. Criticize policies aggressively, but stop treating the ice cream like a constitutional crisis.
Right, and this raises an important question about the trajectory we're on, because the underlying technology amplifying this outrage isn't going away anytime soon.
Which leaves you, the listener, with something to chew on. If this phenomenon mutated from Bush to Trump, continually optimized by algorithm-driven rage bait.
What comes next?
Exactly. What will the next iteration of political derangement look like for future leaders if our media consumption habits don't change? Keep that in mind next time you find yourself at a burning frat party, trying to figure out if the water really is too dry.
Hello, and thanks for listening. This is David Sepp and the Active Center team. For years, our mission has been to foster a community around engagement, health, and conversation. If you value what we do, please consider supporting us. We've started a GoFundMe to cover our production and operational costs, including those pesky social media fees. Your contribution, big or small, helps us keep going. Thank you.